one of the things that we want people to go through in this book is something that I struggled with a lot, is that the like fear of looking at a blank piece of paper, or like going to a pottery class as a graphic designer and being like, or a lettering artist or whatever, and being like, I don't know what I would do, like, and so we want people to walk away and finish the book feeling like they could recognize something that represents them, and they would know what tools are in their toolbox that they could bring anywhere they go, and they could like confidently say to someone, I'm a designer, this is, or whatever, I'm a this and this is what I do. It's not just for graphic designers. And just like that confidence, I feel like we are so inundated with inspiration that we often like lose our own voice, and we often it gets like muddled down. And so we just want people to feel confident at the end that they have a
Yeah.
unique thing to say, whether they know what they're saying before they start making it, or they're making something because they have something to say, if that makes sense.
Mm.
um so yeah, we want people to feel good about their voice at the end of it.
Yeah. The whole book came about because we kept hearing the same question over and over. It was coming up in like any time that we would teach a class or do a Zoom or, talk to creatives in person. The question of like, how do I find my style came up over and over and over. And so when we were like, I think we want to write a book, what should it be about? It was pretty quick to come to the conclusion that it should be about that. So we, didn't necessarily have all the answers in mind when we started the book. It was like, and we still don't have all the answers. But, going through the process of writing the book, we discovered some really interesting things and some kind of different ways of thinking about that question of finding your style. And we realized that people were really getting hung up on it for some similar reasons. And one of those big reasons is that they felt like, so style is traditionally defined as like one aesthetic representation of you, like something really narrow, like I'm an oil pastel artist who does orchids.
Mm.
And people think that, that's what a style means, or like I have this specific way of rendering people that I do every single time, and that's like all that I'm allowed to do. And then they get really burnt out and tired of doing that same thing and feel like so restricted. And they go, well, I guess something's wrong with me because this is what everyone's telling me to do. And so looking at that problem, we were like, no, nothing's wrong with you. And this is such a common problem that I think the question is wrong, or the way of coming at it is wrong. And we need to really zoom out and start examining like who we are as whole creative people, and allow ourselves to explore and grow and be curious in our art, and not necessarily commit to something that narrow. But what we look for in the book is like, what are the patterns behind who you are and the things that you're drawn to, and the motives behind why you do what you do, and how can we just like point those out and be really intentional then about sprinkling those across everything that you do. So it's just like the way you approach your art and the way that you approach, your relationships and just moving through life. How can we be really intentional about like putting our finger on those things and doing those things across everything you do? Like Ilana was saying, when you walk into a pottery class, you're going to apply some of those same things that you apply to your other design work, that you apply to, whatever it is, you're going to apply that to creating pottery. So I think it's a really fun way of looking at things that feels a lot less limiting.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool to get that kind of out into the world and see people just like visually have a sigh of relief. Like, oh, I'm allowed to be bigger than this like super niche that everybody's been telling me I have to do to be successful.